Hey, what's going on, everybody? HotSauceZee here, and we have got some actual news from DICE today. You can see on the screen there behind me, Battlefield Core feedback maps, next steps. They've actually released a little bit of an article, so I'm going to do just an unscripted, kind of off the cuff, as y'all know is my style. I have not read this yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to record this video and I'm just going to read through it, and any reaction I have to the information, that first reaction hopefully can be captured here on the video. So that's the plan. Obviously, I'm going to have to chop it up, because I'm just going to be reading. I'm not going to just show y'all me reading. But anyways, yeah. So we'll jump in, we'll take a look at this, and we'll see what's going on. I don't know what else to say about that, but if you enjoy this kind of video, be sure to drop a like, consider subscribing. If you're over there on YouTube, if you're seeing this elsewhere, then, do the appropriate thing for that platform. Give it a heart, give it a favorite. Y'all remember favorites from Twitter? Give it a follow, whatever. Anyways, let's get into it. So they asked us for feedback back on like March 2nd here. Yeah, I can see. So we'll see what they've come up with. Let's see if they give us any kind of information here about this. All right, here we go. We've taken the necessary time to read through, listen, and identify your common top points of feedback. This has all been reviewed with the design teams to ask how your feedback aligns with our current design goals and how we can best help to prioritize our work to help bring the changes you feel are most impactful in this area. I mean, that's good, and you would have to do that, right? You'd have to make sure that, what the community wants is what we want to make. But, what happens if DICE's design goals are just vastly different than what we as the player base wants? And I only pose this question because, what if DICE has, clearly they've kind of lost their way a little bit, right? What if their plan for the game is, no longer what the core Battlefield audience wants, Or any of the Battlefield audience, whether it be the tryhards, whether it be the casuals, whether it be the milsimmers or whoever. What if those design goals don't, do you know what I'm trying to say? They may have a different design goal in mind than what the feedback is pointing to. And they kind of say there that, if it is indeed that way, then you're not getting your wish. Anyways, let's read on. Basically, what they're saying here at the start is that we've taken feedback from a lot of different realms on the internet, the forums, Twitter, Discord, Reddit. They've looked through it all. That's kind of what they're saying here in kind of a nice way, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep moving. All right, their very first point they're addressing here is traversal. And by traversal, they mean the time that it's taking to travel on foot between the base spawn and the flags. They say that's too long. Thank you. Think of Discarded, the very start of Discarded. If you're the attacking team, if you don't get a vehicle, look at how long that run is, dude. Thank goodness they finally realized, oh, that's too long. Anyways, let me keep reading here. That's just my first thought there on traversal. Obviously, it's too far. Okay, so this is kind of as I feared from the last time they did one of these little articles. They just keep talking about Kaleidoscope. It literally is taking them so much time just to implement these changes. They don't have the manpower over there, or they don't have the experience, or they don't have the desire to. I'm not sure which one it is. But really, we're talking about map changes right here in this article. But what we're really talking about is map changes for one of the maps. So keep that in mind whenever you're expecting this update, whenever they finally drop this Season 1 they mentioned here. We're pretty much going to be getting to redesigns for one map, and that's Kaleidoscope. They're really not changing much else. That's all they talked about the last time. This map is the most complete, I think, being as it was shown a lot in the marketing materials. We saw this map a lot. Kaleidoscope is the one, for whatever reason, the one that it's it's... What's the phrase I'm looking for? It's their... I can't think of the phrase, but Kaleidoscope is their baby, right? This is the one that they want to show us for whatever reason, which is fine, I guess. Kaleidoscope's a fine map, but literally just a second ago, I talked about traversal being a problem at the start of Discarded, and yet all they mention is really Kaleidoscope. Then they also talk about renewal. That one does have a long way to go to get to the start of the objectives, but I actually don't even notice that one being quite as bad as Discarded, because Discarded is just a long, flat, open run. Renewal at the very start, it's pretty good ways, right? Especially if you want to go over to the far one. That one's a little bit of a ways, but that first one, you've got the cliffs. Usually the enemies are up on the cliffs, so it's quick to action usually at the start, especially if you've got a bad team that won't push. I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked. Main point here is that they're still just talking about Kaleidoscope. They're really not. They just don't have the manpower, the resources, or the desire to put into any more of the other maps. Like, I mean, how long is it? If it takes them this long to make map changes on one of the maps, 1.5, we'll say they've adjusted renewal a little bit, then it's going to take them a significant amount of time alongside all the other stuff that they're trying to do to get all of the other maps done. It's not enough, man. What you really need to do, honestly, is you need to, if we're talking about map redesigns, you need to redesign every single map, make it a banger, and release all of them at once. You can't drip feed these map improvements. They all need to come out at once, you know? Anyways, I've spent a long point of time here on this because I was expecting this coming into this, but it is indeed what we got. So anyways, let's read on. Let's see what else they got to say here. Let's take a look at the picture too. Y'all have been looking at it while I've been talking and griping this whole time, but let's see what the work in progress is here. So, to give you a better understanding of what to expect, here's several examples of our work in progress intent to improve traversal across both maps. I don't know what this is showing me, actually. Let me wrap my head around it. A1, A2, B1. I play Breakthrough. Is this like Conquest, probably, where they've got every flag up and running? I'm trying to get my head around this. Was there always 2 flags right here? I don't know. I don't play Conquest, like I said. I really don't even see... the base has always been over here, right? I guess I'm thinking specifically... I should add that. I'm thinking specifically in a breakthrough format, right? But I don't know, man. Okay, so they directly mention that traversal time, what they're talking about is the travel time between base spawn and flags. So I would assume that, I don't know, I don't play Conquest, so I guess I can't really comment. These are different spawn locations. You know, I don't know, are they changing breakthrough rotations? You know, something to think about. I'm going to keep reading because, I can't really comment on the Conquest locations, but these seem similar to what there were. Maybe they're closer. I don't know. Anyways, I'll keep reading. I'll pop back in if I got something else to say here. Okay, so in this next paragraph here, they're talking about, we hear you that people are upset about having to run all the time, running simulator, blah, 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 and that you want more active vehicles to drive around on. And they say pretty much, yeah, we can't do that because it would destroy the performance of the game even more. That's pretty much what they say here, and that is, yes, that's how that would be. That's one of the reasons I think we can't have it where everybody can just spawn an ATV under themselves and drive to the next flag. It would just... Performance is already bad. It would just rip it to shreds. But what they are doing is they're changing the distribution of vehicles across the different selected pools. So what that means is they're making the Nightbird an attack heli rather than a transport heli. That way you're not having the Nightbird pull from that just transport helicopter. People should be able to spawn in it a little bit more easily. They're going to make the Bolt a part of the armored vehicle pool. Or they say we're exploring how gameplay changes when the 2-seater M5C Bolt features as part of the armored vehicle pool, and the MAV instead shows up in transport vehicles category, which doesn't make sense to me because both of them have weapons, not really transport, you know. They're not light weapons either. Like the MAV's got like a rocket launcher or something on it, you know. The Bolt is not a transport vehicle. That thing is a super speed tank of death. Yeah. So... I'm a little wishy-washy on this category here. I think moving the Nightbird to the attack heli category makes sense because that's how people use them. That's how people have always used them. Makes sense to put it there. I don't know why it's a transport heli. So that's about the only change I see here that actually makes sense. Let's push on here, though, to cover and line of sight. I'm definitely interested to see what they have to say on this one. So, all right, so they're going to show us some images here of how they're adding cover to the maps and actually changing the topography. It says they're elevating the terrain to block line of sight in some places, and they're adding some cover via obstacles. So let's take a look here. Here is Kaleidoscope. Make these images a little bigger if we can. So let's see. This B1, I guess, is going to look like this now. You've got some, okay, we're going to have some cliffs. Not cliffs, but we're going to have more annoying rocks, basically, that you won't be able to climb over, but enemies also won't be able to see you through, giving you a little bit of cover to approach. I mean, I would assume there would still be a flag back here. So you got, this is not just an open field anymore, which is nice. The big issue, though, again, this is coming from the perspective of a breakthrough player, but the big issue I always run into on this map is that this area along here, you know, you have the enemies, they're stacked up defending in this area. And, I mean, you just got this exposed swim right here. All of this coming up from here, very exposed, especially once you come down into the bank. Now, you got a little bit of cover if you can get onto this bank, but then as soon as you crest that bank and come up to you know, it's just once again very exposed. This almost makes it to where if these map changes hold up in a breakthrough format, you would, this kind of activity straight to the flag is very, very much not encouraged, and you're going to want to swing left out of here and kind of come into the flag at a right angle like this rather than direct, which is probably smart anyway, right? I'm impatient. I like to push flags directly, and I also think that there should be at least some cover for the people that want to push directly, you know? And I guess they have that with the banks and whatnot, but hopefully I'll understand what I mean. It's kind of like a weird out-of-the-way route. They haven't really addressed anything in this area in particular. But let's check out what's going on over here on G1. So this will be like, again, I'm coming from a breakthrough player's perspective, but, you know, if you play 64-player breakthrough, you finish up this sector, you come out and you crest over this hill, and you've got this big open, you know, parking area in front of this building, and it is pretty much open. It's just like street or whatever. So it looks like they've, you know, they're just adding some little cluttered areas. This is going to be those kind of like worker trailers, you know, those kind of like office trailers you always see at construction sites. Those just quick pop-up offices. That's what that's going to be. And then this is going to be, looks like they've added what, a few boxes into this, because this is going to be the road down, or the walkway, the stairway down into the bottom of that building. They've added some boxes rather than just these little grassy knolls. Got a little bit more stuff. There was always the little boxes right along the doorway, but now they've got a couple more boxes and things in there. So, I mean, fine, I guess. Let's see what else we got. Okay, here's a little bit of a different view at it. Yeah, definitely some larger boxes here along the front. You can see this is actually really a much better view. Oh, we've got boxes here as well. I mean, all of this was flat and open. Now you can actually like look into the building and have some cover without having to be all the way back here. You know, you'd either have to peek these corners or be back behind these walls to look up in there and take those guys out. And we've got a nice little roundabout looking deal here, which is interesting. Don't know why that would exist, but we're not worried about realism. We're worried about cover. So that's fine. Yeah, that's all good. Look at this. Look at this. They've added cover on this walkway as well. Yeah, this is really good. This is it's much better, honestly. There's you know, it's kind of starting to look like a multiplayer map, isn't it? There's stuff to get behind. It's not just drop in a flat plane like this was a griffball court and like have at it. Everybody's got everything, you know. Every gun is available. This is not griffball, but you're in a griffball court. It's a big griffball court, just flat. Have fun. Yeah, so this is a little better. We got a little elevation. These will be a pain in the ass because you won't be able to climb over them, so you'll have to go that way. But yeah. So some good. There's some good things here. I really like the G1 changes a lot. This other stuff, I don't know. That's fine. I don't ever go that way. So just me personally, I'm not going to notice much of a difference there. But maybe I will start going that way, All right. Let's push on. Let's see what's going on here on renewal. I can't really see. It looks like, once again, boxes of sorts. This must be really early in the build. It looks like they've added some stacks of containers, which, of course, they have that asset in spades, thanks to Manifest, and it's easy to just bloop, 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 drop them in there, which I know people will be upset about asset reusal, but it's fine. At least we're getting cover, right? So yeah, some of this looks a little different. It looks like they just kind of, this seems to be probably earlier work in progress. They don't have quite as many little graphics and change stuff made. Trying to see if there's any kind of differences back here. Maybe they haven't gotten to that yet, it looks like. But some of this looks a little different. Just a few more boxes. There's not a lot going on there. But then I have an image of the green part. Here we go. Looks like they've added some, I don't know, just a little bit of clutter to the fields. So, cool, I guess. All right, let's move on. Okay, immersion is another point you've asked for us to look at, often through discussion of how the maps feel too clean and pristine. I do agree. A lot of that comes down to you just haven't added a lot of details to the textures and stuff, but also, there's literally just no objects in the world, like, at all. They say that next year. You've expressed to us that you want it to feel like each flag and objective needs to have more strategic value and something that is worth fighting for. Okay, the immersion part here, that's fine. Make the maps look good, and it doesn't really have to quite match the story for me, but I get that for other people, they need that. So they're talking about this. They're getting rid of yet another gazebo thing, and they've made this this military installation thing. That's what they've called it, military installment. Replace grass with mud, cover the area in barbed wire to better immerse it into our world, and to bring improvements to the narrative of our battles. We want you to feel the objectives are ready for battle whilst you're fighting over them. That's fine. That does make more sense. What are we taking this? Why are we taking the gazebo, man? Hey, this gazebo is a critical military objective to take. So much strategic value in that gazebo. So it's, I guess, cool that they're, whatever, but also it's cool. All right, let's push on here. They're talking about intensity next. You've told us that in your experience, the primary cause for this problem is vehicle dominance. Yes. Let's see how they address that. Okay, they're reducing the number of active attack vehicles and helicopters in 128 from 3 to 2. So that's one less to deal with. Which means you'll only be able to encounter 2 tanks and 2 attack helicopters available at any time instead of 3 each. The cooldown has been doubled, and as they discussed earlier, they're moving the Nightbird into the attack category. Bolt will be moved to the attack category as well. So this means current dominant vehicles will see a reduction in active time, and you'll encounter less of them on the battlefield. Perfect for me, man. Perfect for me as an infantry player. This is the first set of priority changes we're able to make to intensity that should see an immediate improvement to gameplay, and they're a part of our next game update, which I think is the April one, sometime in April. Okay, so they want to hear from us on 2 things specifically here. Some people have made the suggestion that they restrict the call-in system to only light vehicles and the Ranger. So my feedback for that is don't even have the Ranger exist, so nobody can call that in. Delete it. And for the other thing, yeah, sure, make it light vehicles. I think that makes sense, so people don't drop tanks in weird-ass places that they shouldn't be. Or I don't know, maybe leave it that way. It doesn't really matter to me. I guess it's kind of part of the Battlefield sandbox fun if you can drop a tank in some weird place. And I don't know, maybe it's fine. And then they also mentioned for flaggers, you've asked if these could be made larger to further spread out combat over this area. That can't be like a blanket. Ugh. That can't be like a blanket thing. You would have to look at that like per area. You couldn't just blanket make every flag larger. That's going to introduce some weird places where people can get prone and be on the objective now that they weren't before, but it's hard to see. You got to look at that on a case by case, flag by flag basis. So DICE needs to be careful on how they look at that. We outlined that there were too few clear paths between flags, making it unclear where enemy fire could come from or how to best travel between flags. Hold on, what am I looking at here? Distribution center before, distribution center after. There is no distribution center. What am I looking at right now? I'm trying to orient myself on the map. Did they flip the tags on these? Why are they... I thought we were having a discussion about making these maps better and adding cover. Why am I seeing even more just open field? You know? Or I'm not understanding what's going on here. I'm trying to think of what the distribution center even is. What building is this? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, weird. It's just gone. Okay, so the vehicle changes, changing the category anyway. That's going to be available in the next update. Now, talking about Season 1 for all the map changes, so don't expect any map changes before Season 1. And again, Season 1 is sometime late in the summer. I mean, it's very vague. We don't know when it's happening. There's a lot of work involved in doing that to make the maps feel ready for battle. That's what they're talking about. That's what that is. So you can expect us to start discussing more about those updates during Season 1 and for the changes themselves during Season 2. Season 2 confirmed. They pretty much have to give us 4 seasons legally, right? Isn't that how that works? I don't remember what the promises were on the Ultimate Edition, but all right, so when is the next core feedback? And before I do that, let me go back to this last point. Out of all of this that we just saw, none of this is coming up soon, right? So let's just get that out there right now. Let's just mention that. This stuff is not coming soon. This stuff is going to be Season 1, which is like later in the summer. All we can expect is them to have flipped the categories on the vehicles for the next update. Like, that is the big change in the next update, as far as I know, which is pretty underwhelming, to be honest. Anyways, let's jump into this again. Let's finish this up. When is the next core feedback? They're going to talk about specialists for the next core feedback, so be ready for that, all you people that have very strong feelings about specialists. Blah, 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 wrap up there. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. There's some good things mentioned here as far as like them sprinkling cover in. It seems cool. I don't know when we'll ever get to play it, We're still looking at like, it's taking them so long to do anything on this game. And then to even just to do it is taking a long time. And then to release it is taking even longer. And it's just delay. So what does that tell you? This game should have been delayed, DICE. I mean, it's just not ready. It's not even gonna be ready by, like, if you delayed this game a year, released it in November of this year instead of November of last year, I still don't think it's ready. I mean, this is the most bare bones game I've ever seen. But there's some good stuff in here anyways. I don't mean to just like rag on it. The cover and line of sight stuff is looking great. The traversal stuff, like I said, I'm not a Conquest player, so I don't really know what's going on there. Maybe it'll help. If they don't make any breakthrough changes to traversal, then it literally doesn't affect me, which is a little bit disappointing. And they don't really mention breakthrough at all. And, just knowing DICE, I feel like that's something they would just completely omit. They just wouldn't even mess with breakthrough. It's just Conquest. We're just changing Conquest. So, that may not even help me at all. I'm, moving the vehicles category. That's cool. It's helpful. Hopefully it'll be a good thing. So, there's some good stuff in here. There is also just a whole lot of just like, all right, just wait a little longer. So don't expect any of this stuff like anytime soon. Keep playing whatever else you're playing. Like for me, Elden Ring or, whatever. I actually have been playing some Battlefield 2042. I've been kind of jumping back in and streaming that for about 2 hours here and there. But yeah, there you go. I guess that's it. That's the map feedback loop. We've done our core feedback on maps, and this is what they're giving us. So there's some good things. Of course, we'll have to see how it is in action, and it seems like we're probably going to have to wait until summertime to even see these changes. And like I said before, hopefully they can get like even more maps in before they release it. If they wait that long, I'd like to see like ready to go maps all dropped at once. Man, that would make the game actually feel fresh. But if you just drip feed this out where, all right, Kaleidoscope is the only map that is actually playable now, That's just gonna be a pain because you can't. There's no server browser. You can't select Kaleidoscope to play on that one that they've redesigned. You're gonna have to go through Hourglass. You're gonna have to go through Discarded. You're gonna have to go through, Manifest and all that. For who knows how many amount of times. There's no rotation, so you never know if you're going to land on the newly redesigned map, and that's going to be a pain. So get ready for that. That's coming. Anyways, so yeah, that's today's little Battlefield Core feedback maps update. That's kind of what my thoughts on it live. I'll chop this video up and get it put up, and hopefully it wasn't too long for you guys. But I wanted to get like some just true, honest reactions as I'm reading through it on there. Because what I typically do on this is I'll read it and then I'll try and go back and like think about the things that I thought of, and I always forget something. So by doing it this way, I make sure that I get like just kind of the raw feeling of like reading it, like what I'm expecting as I'm reading it, that kind of thing. So yeah, anyways, I gotta go get some other stuff done. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, consider subscribing. I like to do this kind of update stuff for Battlefield. It's kind of one of the reasons I made the channel, and then they just stopped talking to us. So there's just nothing to make. Everybody's already figured out all the guns. There's just no Battlefield content to make. I commend people like Enders and all those guys that are Logan the Brawler that are somehow still coming up with videos. I don't know. Anyways, I'm out of here. See y'all next time.